Hello crafters, welcome to a center pop-out card tutorial. I'm Charee Filimoehala here at the G45 headquarters, and I'm excited to teach you how to create 3 super cute little fun pop-up cards. These cards are so great and versatile. They're great for birthdays, special occasions, get well soon cards, and really any time that you need a floral and elegant card. These cards have been brought to us by the wonderful and creative Ginger Ropp of My Sister Scrapper. And in this tutorial, I'm gonna walk you through how to create all 3 of these cards. But with your G45 Card Club kit, you're gonna get enough where you could recreate this and do 6 different cards, plus still have leftover goodies. So if you're not yet a G45 Card Club subscriber, you can go ahead and do that now on our website, G45papers.com. On our website, you can also find our store locator, and you can find a G45 retailer near you around the world there. And of course, we're always happy to help you with any questions you might have or finding a store by emailing us at info@G45papers.com. So go ahead, grab your supplies, and let's start creating. In your G45 card kit for volume 4, you'll be getting these ornate metal corners. You'll also be getting this Card Club exclusive deep purple card bases with the ivory envelopes. You get 6 of those, each of those, and they are in the A6 size, which are 4.5 by 6.25. You'll be getting our Fruit Flora 8x8, which comes with 3 of each of these gorgeous sheets. So a lot to work with and a lot left over, so you can have things to play with as well. And then you'll be getting also our Fruit Flora journaling and ephemera cards, which you get 32 of those in that pack. And then of course the project sheet that has the step-by-step directions so you can recreate these 3 cards that we'll be creating in this tutorial. And if you're not a Club G45 member or a G45 Card Club member, you can always print this out on our website. If you just go to G45papers.com, we've got an inspiration tab. You click on that and go down to project sheets, and there you'll find over 30 different free printable project sheets. And then with each of our kits, you get a Ziploc resealable graphic 45 bag to store all your goodies in. Let's start creating our card 1 for our center pop-out card set. So the first thing we're going to want to do is take our Life is Sweet paper, and we're going to want 2 pieces that measure to be 4 inches by 5 3/4. And then we are going to adhere these inside of our card base. So we're using a nice heavy 100-pound card stock base. And we're using a nice deep purple that matches our Fruit and Flora collection. If you get the kit, you're gonna get 6 of these in your kit along with the envelopes that are ivory. If you are just creating along with us, you could use any coordinating paper. Ivory or black would look great as well. And the size is an A6 size, which is 4.5 by 6.25. So we are gonna open this up, and then we'll add adhesive onto the back side of our papers we just cut. So add adhesive onto the back side of our Life is Sweet papers. Since I'm using a dry adhesive, I'm just going to go ahead and go over it with my bone folder, making sure it gets a good connection with my paper. That makes pulling up these little paper strips a lot easier once you've done that. And then we are going to adhere these on the inside of our card base, just finding that perfect center spot. So I like to do that by eyeballing my opposite corners. So I'm just looking at my bottom left-hand corner and my top right-hand corner. And when those look like they are nice and even, and I'm going to go ahead and burnish it all down. And then I'll do the same on the right hand panel. Step 3, we are trimming another piece of Life is Short from the B side to be 8 inches by 3 1/4 inch. And then we are going to do some scoring. You can see that this has already been scored. So we are going to show you, we're going to score at 1 3/4 inch, 4 inches, and 6 1/4 inch. And a pro tip by Ginger is that you're going to want to go ahead and score at 4 inches, right side up, and then we'll flip it over and then we'll score on the reverse side at 1 3/4 inch, and then on the other side at 6 1/4. That way when we're folding it, things won't crack and show that white side core of the paper as well. So we do want this to be a valley, mountain, valley. So that's how we want to end up folding those once they've been scored. And then we're going to add adhesive onto just our valley ends, leaving our mountain unadhered. So just on the right and left hand edges, and then our 2 center panels will not have any adhesive on those. Step 6, we are taking our fruit stamp journal card. That's a 4x3, and we are just going to cut this in half. So we'll have 2 inches by 3 inches on either side, and then we'll be flipping these over, and these are going to adhere onto our center panels just right even with each other, giving it about 1/8 inch border on the top, bottom, and sides. All right, now that that's adhered down and we've added adhesive to our end panels, we can go ahead and start to adhere this into the inside of our card. So I'm just going to remove one side at a time. So I want to make sure everything is right side up. This is how I want my card to be. So this is currently folded, but there's no adhesive here, so that doesn't matter. But I do want the edge, the center edge of my mechanism to be flush with the decorative edge of my paper here. And I want it to be in the center from the top and bottom of my card. So once I have found that spot, I can go ahead and now adhere that down. So you can see it's folding and closing just how I wanted it to go. And then I will do something very similar here. I'll pull up my score tape, and then keeping my mechanism folded like so, I can now close my card, burnish, and then when I open it up, I will have created that beautiful center pop out mechanism. Next, we're going to do a bit of fussy cutting. We're going to fussy cut out 3 apples from our fabulous fruit page, as well as one of our large apples from their signature page. We're going to want to be sure that we are grabbing our floral here as well. So we're going to take this full apple with the white blossom up in the top right hand corner. So now that I just loosely cut around what I wanted, it's going to be a lot easier to go in there and just trim out my pieces. And I did get some brand new Fiskars scissors, and this is my first attempt at fussy cutting with them, so we'll see how it goes. But fussy cutting, you do always want to use your sharpest scissors that you have around, and then just drive your paper through the blades of your scissors. And if you just relax and enjoy the ride, it'll make it quite a relaxing and enjoyable experience. I know a lot of graphic 45ers out there like to fussy cut their papers right when they get them. That kind of gives them that nice inspiration for what projects they want to build when they get a new collection in home. Gives you some fun inspiration. And then the best part is then after that, you're ready to create, and you've already made your own embellishments which are super affordable and add a lot of extra dimension and texture to your projects. So close those back up, cut my 3 stamps apart, and I have my apple with my little flower on there. And now I can go ahead and just adhere these onto the inside of my card, just adding that extra bit of attention to detail, extra little handmade with love. So this is just going to go here on my right hand panel, and then I'm going to do fun little collage over here with my other pieces. If you're following along with our step-by-step directions, you will have noticed that I jumped ahead and glued down my mechanism before my fussy cut pieces. However, your outcome is exactly the same, but just to get us back on track, we are now on step 10 and we'll be creating our cover. Step 10, we are taking our 4x6 journaling card that reads, "Life without love is like a tree without blossoms or fruit." And we're just going to be adding some extra dimension to this, some extra sturdiness. You can always use foam adhesive, scratch cardboard that you have at home. I'm using some leftover chipboard sheets that we have from a previous Graphic 45 project. This is our Graphic 45 black chipboard. And I'm just going to add a nice layer behind here. So I cut it down to be about, about 3.5 by 5.5, so it has a border around it. But of course, it's just whatever you've got at home to add some extra dimension. You can always just adhere it straight down as well. But in case you don't have any foam circles, but you have been a Club G45 member for a while, you should have some extra chipboard sheets in your stash, or you can even use some like cracker or cereal boxes as well. So I've adhered that down. Now we're going to add a little more fussy cut detail. So again, from our signature page, we're going to be taking this apple, and then from another one of those journaling cards, we'll be taking this apple here. Once you've cut those out, you can go ahead and add some foam adhesive to the back. And if you are shipping these in the mail and not hand delivering, you might want to skip both of these dimensional adhesive steps. That way you won't have to pay extra postage for your shipment. But if you are doing some hand delivering or adding this to a package, that extra dimension is really a nice touch. And then last but not least, we are going to take our metal corners. We're going to be using one of these flat Ornate corners. So I'm just going to open this from the bottom and just grab that 1/4 I need, so the rest of those stay in my package. And then using some liquid adhesive, we will go ahead and adhere this down. You want to use an adhesive that will dry clear as well. We're going to adhere this down on the inner edge of our journaling and ephemera card, so it's on that red border. Card number 2, we are going to cut 2 fragrant blossom pieces that are going to be 4 inches by 5 3/4. And then we are going to adhere those down right in the center of our card base. Be sure to burnish down any air pockets that you might have and cleaning up any excess adhesive. Step 3, we're going to trim another piece of fragrant blossoms, and this time we're going to be using the B side, and this is going to be 8 inches by 3 1/4. And then for step 4, we're going to go ahead and score it just like we did on our card number 1. So we'll score at 4 inches down the center, and then flip it over and score at 1 3/4, and then again at 6 1/4. And then we'll be doing the exact same folds where we have a valley, mountain, and a valley fold. Step 5, we're going to take our Life is Sweet ephemera card that's 3 by 4 inches and cut it in half, so we have a 2-inch piece on each side, and then we'll adhere to our center mechanism. And if you notice on the second one that I've done, it is cut not quite at 2 inches. That way the EET can be on one side, and so it's not down the middle of a letter like on this one. So it's up to you. If you want it to be easier to read, it might be best to cut in between the W and the 2 E's. Step 6, we're going to be adding some fun extra details inside of our card. So taking this journaling and ephemera card that's 3 by 4 inches. On the reverse side, there's a super cute little butterfly floral detail, and we're going to be taking a circle punch. The one in the directions, it says to use a 1 3/8 of an inch circle punch, but you could really use anything that you've got that's in between 1 1/4 inch to 1 1/2 inches. So you can see this is the recommended circle punch, and then this is a 1 1/4 one, and it's both. Either way, it's going to look great inside your card. You could also use a template or just find something, a circular item to trace around to do this. Or you could omit this detail altogether. It's just a fun extra little way to add some character inside your card. And then also from our 8 by 8 paper pad, the Fabulous Fruit, we're going to be taking out this Bloom with Grace, and we'll be fussy cutting our pear. So we are going to leave the corner intact from the ivory, and then that leaf up top. And then we're going to swing around these blossoms, and that's when we're going to start to get fussy cutting this cute image out. And in the directions, it says that this comes from an ephemera card. Just note that was an error that I'm correcting here. It does come from your 8 by 8 paper pad. So you can just cut it out from there. There are tons of extra ephemera cards, so there are lots of things that you can use from there. And at the end of this video, I'll even show you a few fun examples of what you can create with some other fun examples of how you can use the same tutorial and these same items to create the other 3 cards with those card bases that come in your kit. So just fussy cutting this along like so. We just want to get out some of that fun detail just to add to our card. And then now we are going to adhere these onto our green mechanism. So with fussy cuts, it's great to use your liquid adhesive so you can kind of get into your little nooks and crannies. Of course, we even have some Graphic 45's Decades inks, and it would be great to use either the vintage antique lace or our dark cashmere would be 2 great options for this. So now that we've decorated our mechanism, we can go ahead and adhere this down. So I'm going to put adhesive on one of my panels. So I've added adhesive to the back of my right hand panel. And then I've folded it so my mountain peak is going to be nice and flush with my decorative paper, and it's even from the top and bottom. And then we'll do the same on the reverse side. So when you're using liquid adhesive, you want to make sure that we are not going to accidentally adhere our mechanism down to our card base. So just keep that in mind, and then we can fold over our card base, and then there we have it. There's super cute center pop out card. So for our last step for card number 2, step 8, we've taken our Bloom with Grace 4x6 ephemera card. I've added some nice scrap chipboard to the back of my card base, and now I can nicely put on my ephemera card right on there, and then taking this cute little peach. Again, that is from our fabulous Fruit 8x8 paper. And this just adheres right flush with our purple edge of our card. Just about a quarter of an inch or 1/8 of an inch from the bottom of the G on Grace. And then from that cut apart we have been, or our ephemera card we've been using, we've cut out the peach. Nope, that's not a peach. The pear for our pear card. And this, just going to put on an angle, give it some nice interest. And then last but not least, we're going to take one of our ornate metal corners and we are going to add it to our card, leaving just a bit of a border on the top and left hand side. I'll let that dry, but you can see this one. It's got some nice dimension and it's so simple and classic as well. Let's start on our card 3, Life is Sweet. This might just be my favorite of the 3 cards, and it's following the same pattern we've been using. So we're going to trim our Abundant Harvest to be 4 inches by 5 3/4 of an inch, and then adhere those on to our card base, leaving an even border all the way around. Step 3, we're going to trim another piece of the Abundant Harvest to be 8 inches by 3 1/4. And then we're going to score the same way we did with our last 2. So we will score at 4 inches and then flip this over and score again at 1 3/4 and then 6 1/4. And then fold just how we have before, valley, mountain, valley. Step 5, we're taking our Life is Sweet journaling card and we're going to cut this one in half, and then we'll be using the reverse sides to add to our pop-up mechanism. Step 6, from Fabulous Fruit, we have cut these border pieces to be 4 inches wide. So we've got the green with the sentiments, and we've got 2 of those, and then we have our purple pears, and all 4 of those are 4 inches. And then adhere to your card. I've taken the green sentiment borders and they're about 1/4 of an inch from the top of our plaid, and then our purple pears are about 1/8 of an inch from the bottom plaid. Now we're going to add our mechanism, and we're going to do it just the same way we have in the past with the last 2. So just on I'm going to start again with my right hand flap. And then I want my mountain edge to be flush with my plaid edge. So my mountain edge is not glued down to anything, just this right flap. And then we will do the same with our left hand flap. So fold it all over, only add adhesive to our left hand panel. I'm going to just leave it as is, and now I can close my card on top of itself. And voila, we've got another center pop out card. Step 7, we're going to add some foam adhesive to the back of our peach 4x6 journaling card. And because we're using these dimensional corners on this one, I'm going to add some extra dimension by using some scrap cardboard. So this one really wouldn't be ideal to put in the mail as doing it this way. If you do want to put it in the mail, I would just go ahead and omit these corners. That way you can just use those on another project. But this way, I'll show you a fun dimensional way to use these on a card. So I've added my black chipboard onto my peach ephemera card, and now I've just cut from a cardboard box a piece of cardboard that's just going to be slightly smaller than even my black chipboard. That way you won't be able to see it as much when you're looking at the card. So just adding my adhesive, now I can add this onto the front of my card base, making sure everything is nice and even. So now you can see I've got that extra dimension, but you can't really see the cardboard underneath. So it's exactly what I want it to look like at this point. Okay, for step 8, we're going to do some fussy cutting. These come from the signature page of our 8x8. So I do want to include this white blossom and these 3 pink blossoms on my Life is Sweet banner while I'm cutting this out. So I'm just going to get in here and cut it even smaller. That way I can kind of stay focused on what I need to be cutting. Okay, so now I have this piece. Now we can go and just edge around the banner. And of course, you can get as detailed as you want, and always adding some ink does hide any of those flaws that you may make while fussy cutting. So it's always a great thing to add if you are trying to fix an error. It also makes your fussy cuts pop out onto your projects. So I'll show you Ginger Ropp samples after we're done with this, so you can just see how her inking really adds some extra dimension to her project. So it should look something like this when you're done. And then we will do the same with these cute little butterflies as well that also came from the signature page. So I've added some foam adhesive onto our Life is Sweet banner. And then this is going to go just a bit on a diagonal edge underneath our peach. So you can see Ginger has inked her edges and it looks beautiful. And then that's without inking. So, you know, from a distance, it doesn't look too much different, but all those details do matter. So if you do want to take it that extra step, I would encourage you to try inking your edges on your fussy cuts. And then just add some adhesive on, and let's glue our butterflies down onto our banner. And then our last step for our cards is to take some liquid adhesive and our dimensional metal corners, and I'm just going to put these in opposite corners from each other. So just adding my liquid adhesive, I'll do one in the top left hand corner and one in the bottom right hand corner, like so, and I'll go ahead and let those dry so you can see this one up close. Those nice metal corners give it that nice extra polished look to your cards and a nice heavy duty weight. These have been gorgeous cards to create, and these are just the 3 examples that we wanted to show you. But once you know how to do those 3, you can see where it'd be easy to take the same idea and then create 3 more with your extra card bases. So here are just a few other fun examples. Using up those border pieces just really adds some extra fun detail. We've got another ornate corner here. Just popped up this fun cut apart. And then Ginger has even fussy cut out this fun sentiment, beauty blossoms with love. And then there's a great area to write your own sentiment on the inside. And then using those borders up again, you can cut down our journaling and ephemera cards, dear friend. So these are just some other fun examples of what you can create with this card kit. We hope that you have really enjoyed creating along with us today for the G45 Card Club. We hope that you share your projects with us on Instagram and on our Graphic 45 Facebook community page using that Graphic 45 hashtag. And then go ahead and be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit that notification bell so you know when there's new videos and tutorials up. We share new tutorials every month, plus brand ambassador videos and collection reveals. So a lot of fun stuff to keep you motivated and creating. We hope that you are staying safe out there and creative. As always, happy paper crafting.